welcome to Chief Joe's Art Stuff. My name is Julie and I am here to impart some knowledge to you today via a 2-minute art tip. And today we're going to be talking about sketchbooks. I know, you're surprised, a little underwhelmed maybe, but I think we may have some little news nuggets that may be helpful to you when you're shopping for sketchbooks. One is you really need to think clearly about what it is that you're looking for. When you're using your sketchbooks, how do you use them? Are you using them with pencil exclusively? Are you doing some pen and ink? Are you doing some water media with it? So all of those considerations will change kind of what you're looking for. At Cheap Joe's here we have all of it. Any of those options that you want, we got that here. But you do need to be clear with yourself about how it is that you use your sketchbooks, realistically. We also have paint books, which are really, really cool because they're interlaced with like a piece of sketch paper and then a piece of like watercolor or water media paper in between. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So you can do like a value sketch and then come back and do like a more detailed study with water media in between. And that's really, really cool. So all of those options need to be considered when you're shopping for a sketchbook. Then two, the other thing is the number of pages. One thing that people tend to think of is like when they're shopping through the catalog and they're looking at sketchbooks, they're like, oh, cool. This one has like 288 pages, which that sounds great, but you need to think a little bit about like the lifespan of your sketchbook. If you're taking it places and you're using it a lot, 288 pages is probably going to take you a little while, and the thing tends to get considerably beat up before you can make it to the end of that book. A better consideration for yourself is that if you're taking it everywhere and you're using it a lot, you may want to look at one with fewer pages that will actually hold up while you're busy filling it up, versus a gigantor one that may just be like a disheveled mess by the time that you actually fill it up. So maybe looking at a smaller one may be a better option for you. Now, if you're in studio all the time, like mostly I don't take my sketchbooks out a whole bunch. But if you're working in studio, sometimes a bigger one for the cost savings is a good idea. Just depends on how you work. The last thing that I want you to think about is the type of bindery. And I know you're like, ugh, God, who cares? You do, whether you know it or not, you do care about this. And this is an important factor. So how you use your sketchbook really relates to how it's bound. Okay, for instance, there is a thing called like a perfect bound sketchbook, which means that it's bound exactly like a book, which it looks pretty and it looks all cute on the shelf, and they're like some of the like daintier boutique-y ones are perfect bound. The thing with perfect bound books is that you can't open it all the way. It's like a book where it just kind of flops halfway open and you can't bend it backwards and break the spine and like really lay it flat. So that's an option. So if that's something that would bother you, then a perfect bound sketchbook is not for you. There's also a signature bound sketchbook, which means that there's groupings of paper that are actually stitched together, and then all those groupings are put together in a bigger stack, and then that part is all bound together. Well, that's cool, and that's traditionally the way that books were made, into antiquity. But the thing is, like, let's say that you got a really cool sketch, or let's say that you got a really bad one and you want to rip it out. In a signature bound sketchbook, if you rip out a page, that whole signature, which sometimes is as much as 64 pages, just comes, completely undone. And that's not cool. So you need to think about that. So if you're somebody that likes to remove pages, or like you're tearing stuff out of your sketchbook to put it or use it for something later, then signature bound is not really great for you. Or we have spiral bound, which is like this one, like the American Journey one that I have here. This has a nice hard cover, and it's spiral bound all the way around. It's not like a notebook, like notebook paper. This one you can actually flip it open, flip it all the way around. It lays completely flat and stuff like that. So spiral bound is great, like if you're like me and you like to work in your lap and you don't want the other side like messing with you and stuff like that. This is a really great option. The other thing to think about is what kind of paper do you like? I'm kind of like a more detailed, sketchy person, and I really like to get in there and sometimes will really focus on the details. You need something that's a little bit smooth. Also, if you are doing pen and ink and stuff like that, you need a paper quality that isn't going to bleed through. And also, do you use your sketchbook where you're using both surfaces, the front and the back of pages? So take a look at those. That means if you're using both sides, you'll need a heavier weight paper inside there and all those kinds of things. So just a little bit of stuff to think about when you're looking at sketchbooks for yourself or friends or artsy people that you care about, because whenever you buy a sketchbook, you definitely want to make the most out of it and enjoy.